Hi, I'm David Fleming from Disciples Ignited, where we are focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom, and preparing his disciples. Now, today we're going to be talking about David and how David had such a high esteem for prophets and those involved in prophetic ministry. David realized that to have faith in the Lord was also to have faith in the Lord's messengers, the prophets. Now we read in 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 20, where Jehoshaphat declared, "Have faith in the Lord your God, and you will be upheld. Have faith in his prophets, and you will be successful." Now, this was declared by Jehoshaphat many years after David, but the principle that Jehoshaphat was talking about was seen in David's life and his own ministry. David did have faith in the Lord for sure, but we see his faith in the Lord by how he had faith in the Lord's prophets. We see this in many ways in David's life. One of the most flagrant ways was the fact that David used prophets to literally write down the history of his reign. We read about this in 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 29. As for the events of King David's reign, from beginning to end, they are written in the records of Samuel the seer, which was a prophet, the records of Nathan the prophet, and the records of Gad the seer. So there you have it. David literally entrusted the record keeping into the hands of prophets. Prophets that were seasoned, prophets that were powerful in their prophetic ministry, and prophets that always declared a pure word from the Lord. You see, it was most kings in those days would have people record their history and embellish it to always make them look better than they were. They would, in a sense, rewrite history, but not David. David entrusted the writing of his reign, keeping all the records of his reign, into the hands of prophets. Why? Because he knew that prophets were going to tell the truth. They weren't yes men by any means. They were going to speak it just like it was. Oh! That tells us something about the prophets that David surrounded himself with. He wasn't looking for yes men. He wasn't looking for people that were going to compromise the word of the Lord. Absolutely not. David surrounded himself with prophets that he knew were powerful, were seasoned, that were pure messengers of the Lord. Oh, and that made a difference in David's life because, see, David needed people to keep him in check. David needed people that weren't going to be yes men, but that were going to speak to him a pure word from the Lord. You know, the Lord, when he raises up prophets today, he's not looking for prophets that are going to compromise. He's not looking for people that are going to compromise the message. Hallelujah! He is looking for prophets that are going to be pure in their delivery. And you know, when God's prophets are raised up with such a pure ministry, an uncompromising ministry, oh, they are going to be powerfully used by the Lord to keep God's people in check. Thank God for pure prophets that are going to help the church rise up and represent Jesus gloriously. Well, we see that David, because he surrounded himself with such powerful prophets, it really did make a difference in David's life. David, who himself was a prophet, was encouraged and kept in check by other prophets. Yes, as with David, so it will be with us. Have faith in the Lord, and you will be upheld. Have faith in his prophets, and you will be successful. We'll talk more about it tomorrow.